Hosted in conjunction with Chris Media, the CEO interview series allows investors to hear directly from the CEOs leading the companies featured on Wholesale Investor. Enjoy the interview and reach out via the details in the description.
Hello and welcome to another CEO interview for Chris Media. Today joining us we have Peter Smyth from Hound Group. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you for having me, Megan. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. So first of all, Peter, could you give us a bit of a summary of Hound Group for the investors listening?
Well, let's just call it Hound,
Okay.
which will make it easier. Hound is a new SaaS platform specifically for mortgage brokers, and it is based on servicing the mortgage broker's existing customer base. And through that, improving customer retention, which grows their profitability and grows the size of their business. And remarkably, this doesn't exist today.
Oh.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Incredible.
Well, and you're probably going to ask me, why is that so?
Why is that so?
Why is that so is because the mortgage broking business has grown up in a certain way, and they have a modus operandi, they have a way of operating, and it's all focused on finding new customers to sell mortgages to. So the whole business model is based on finding a customer, taking them through the process and settling a mortgage. It doesn't have any equipment for mortgage brokers to provide ongoing service to those existing customers they've sold mortgages to in the past.
Right.
And guess what happens? Those customers are not being serviced and assisted, and progressively the customers disappear. So the mortgage broker is so busy finding new customers to add, to bring in the front door, if you like, people are running out the back door because their existing customers are not getting the service they need.
Yeah.
So it's a flaw in the system, and that's the
Fantastic.
gap we fill at Hound.
Love that. So yeah, I guess you kind of gone into your motivations to start this company, but could you tell us a bit more about what other gaps you saw in the market?
Well, the motivations, I guess more broadly, I've been involved in financial services all my life, and most recently I was involved in private equity and sort of startup ventures, and someone raised this point with me. They said, have you looked at the mortgage broking industry? And I hadn't, but I did then.
Okay.
And through a whole network of contacts, I found out that this massive industry, when you think about it, mortgage broking is the second largest industry after superannuation.
Right.
So the largest financial services market, superannuation, many trillions, but the outstanding amount on residential home mortgages is almost $2 trillion.
Wow.
And of that, mortgage brokers now settle about 2/3 of all new loans, and they manage about half of all those existing loans. So it's a big business, and it's very important to Australians. Think about all the topics now about increasing interest rates and what it does to the economy. And there's an industry being managed, dominated, the dominant force in it are mortgage brokers, and yet they're not equipped. They're not equipped to provide ongoing service to their customers. Amazing. So that's what drew me into it. And when I then looked at it, I thought it's such an important industry. And the person who is closest to the customer, the end borrower, the trusted advisor is the mortgage broker.
Okay.
And yet you've got mortgage brokers who don't really have a sustainable value-creating business model. So something's got to change. Enter Hound.
Amazing. Sounds fantastic. And you mentioned that no one else is doing it in the market at the moment, but companies always have competition and competitors. Can you tell us a bit more about that and how you scale against those competitors?
Yeah, taking a bit of a backward step for a moment, the whole industry and the technology that's made available to brokers is in line with the business model I mentioned to start with, which is all about acquiring new customers and settling mortgages for them. So the technology that they have access to is all about that. They don't have any technology to help them service their existing customer base. Interestingly, even their customer base, do they have a database of their customers that is up to date and current and complete? No, they don't. You know why? Because they all the attention is on taking a new prospect through to the settlement of the loan.
Yeah.
And once you do that, don't need it anymore.
Bye.
So the database very quickly becomes out of date. It's incomplete. The other thing, Megan, is the database is a database that is driven by a transaction, being that particular mortgage. It's not driven by an individual. So what are all the things about Megan we need to know? It's not, you're more than just your current mortgage, aren't you? And
I
yet,
hope so.
you would hope so. And so what's required is to build a database that is a customer database.
Okay.
And that doesn't exist at the moment. So in terms of competition, yes, there is technology that is provided to mortgage brokers by their aggregator, who they go through. It's like the middleware that they go through to lenders. But the aggregators don't provide them anything to help them service their existing customers. So we alone do that. There are some other applications around which will do a bit of this and will help in parts in servicing an existing customer base, but only Hound does the full thing.
Fantastic.
We actually do 4 things. Can I tell you what they are?
Please do.
Right, we're on a roll here.
Yeah.
The first thing we do for mortgage brokers is that we create and maintain a complete, up-to-date customer base for them.
Okay.
So it doesn't stop at the point of loan settlement, it's maintained afterwards. So it's up-to-date and complete. First thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, we provide technology that interrogates that database.
Right.
Because what you can't do as a broker, you just don't have time to trawl through your customer base all the time. What you want is something to go in there with the smarts and identify those customers who are now at risk, have an unmet servicing need, and if you don't meet it, someone else will, and they're the people you're at risk of losing, and that's where your runoff occurs. So we've got the technology.
Yeah.
Third thing we do is some of the basic work for those customers. So
Okay.
the smarts of the Hound technology actually initiates and starts doing some of the contact work with those customers. And finally, and most importantly, what Hound does is keep a record of key performance indicators.
Right.
Because if you're a broker, you're in the business to build a business which you eventually want to sell.
Okay. Yeah.
But what you need is a track record of what has happened. So demonstrate the value creation.
Yes.
Track the key performance metrics. And that's what Hound does. So they're the 4 things Hound does.
Brilliant, thank you. And obviously behind this amazing platform, you've obviously got a great team. So could you tell us a bit more about the team and the skills that they bring?
Yeah, obviously the team has got a number of different skills that you need. It's a mix of skills you always need in something like this. And particularly it reflects the mortgage broking industry, which is today very much a relationship-based industry.
Yes.
So key is to have people on the team who know their way around mortgage broking and mortgage brokers.
Yes.
And the mortgage broking world is made up of sole operators, going right up to large organisations, all combined, and everything in between. So we have several people on our team who have had extensive experience in senior management positions, in large mortgage broking groups, and also in large lenders who deal with mortgage brokers. So they've seen it from both sides. We've also got a couple of mortgage brokers on our team.
Yeah.
So we call them subject matter experts. And that's so that we can speak broker, because otherwise we're going to use the wrong terminology. So they're constantly saying, no, come back here. So we've got several of them. And then we've got some technology people, of course. And in between, or technology and operations people who have worked with brokers and lenders, because you need the glue between the front office of the broker and, if you like, the back office of the technology, make it all happen for the brokers. And that's basically it.
Fantastic. That sounds like a solid team. Okay, cool. So far then, how have you seen the market react to Hound?
Well, we kicked off with our launch customer at the beginning of this year, and they gave us what's called an orphan book.
Okay.
Now explain. An orphan book is actually a book, quite a big book in this case, of customers who are in the course of paying off their mortgages, but they have no broker associated with them at all. So they're getting no service.
Okay.
They're kind of lost and lonely. So these people are underserviced or maybe even unserviced. So it was a real test for us because we had to curate the data, complete the data, bring it up to date, and then establish a contact program with that database. That has worked very well with that launch customer, and so much so that our next step with them is to roll the platform out to their franchise broker network. So these are active brokers in the market.
Yeah.
And as well, they also provide us with access to well over 1,000 independent brokers
Wow.
who use their aggregating services. So we've already, from that humble beginnings, we've gone out that way.
Brilliant.
What we've also done, though, is we've had a laboratory, we like to call it an active broker laboratory, who are our core target market. So mid-sized brokerage up to about 500 loan customers, tech savvy, long runway in the business, keen to grow, probably looking at acquiring other brokerages.
Yeah.
So that's our core market. We've had one of those, and we've perfected our operations for our core market with them. So, and we're now about to roll that out to a whole list of people we've got lined up of that type of profile. Brilliant.
And could you tell the investors listening what's on for the next 6 to 12 months for Hound?
Sales,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
It's our launch customer, their active broker network, and their independent broker network that we have access to. Priority, top priority. Next, an equal top priority is more of these core target market, tech-savvy, mid-sized brokers. And we have an early bird offer available to them, which is pretty much full now, which is to bring in a group of about 30 of them who we're going to call our development partner users, DPUs.
Okay.
And they're coming in on a very attractive deal, and we'll work closely with them for their input and feedback to refine the platform.
Makes sense.
Roll that out, and then with them as sort of influencers, endorsers, advocates, then we roll out to others, like-minded ones. And finally, we do a couple more orphan books, a couple of more big orphan books, because there are a lot of those actually sitting around unserviced and underserviced. And what is happening, Megan, quickly, if I may, these big orphan books, the way to manage them in the past has always been just leave them alone. Leave the people alone. They'll sit there quietly. But there's a lot more attention on mortgages and mortgage rates these days. And so mortgage customers are proactively inquiring about their situation a lot more themselves, and therefore they're more receptive to approaches from other brokers.
Yeah.
So these mortgage orphan books are starting to run off more quickly if you don't service them proactively. So that's the opportunity for Hound.
Fantastic. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming in today, Peter. I think that you've given the listeners a really good insight into what you guys are doing. If you are keen to speak with Peter further, please scan the QR code that's on the side of the screen. That will take you into their deal room, and Peter will be sure to reach out to you and have a conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Megan.